Good morning and welcome back, everyone. This week will be our final week on angles, and we've got some fun activities lined up for you to finish this chapter. This week will also be a little different, as not every lesson will begin with an in focus task and end with a worksheet. Just a little heads up. Now, today we're going to be using right angles to help us describe turns. So, the first thing I'd like you to do today is draw out a cross, remembering to use a ruler, boys, and then mark out the 4 right angles you can find on a cross. This will help with your in focus for today. Parents, pets, and partners, see if you can hold back from helping too much from this little starter activity, as I'm hoping the children should have a fairly good idea of what a right angle looks like now, and where they can find them. Remember, if you're finding this difficult, you can use the corner of a piece of paper to help, as this is exactly a right angle. Okay, so now that you've done that, let's have a look at our in focus for today. We've got some kind of small creature, possibly a cat. Let's call him Chewy, on a grid. Now, Chewy has an arrow coming out from his head, just to show which direction he is facing. At the moment, Chewy is facing towards the Castle of Doom. Now, the first part of the question asks how Chewy can turn to face the mountains of Mordor. Little Lord of the Rings reference for those fans out there. That means we want Chewy to turn so that the arrow protruding from his head is now pointing towards the picture of the mountains. Now, I've put a copy of one of the in focuses on your worksheets for today. So I would suggest that before we go any further, you print that out so you have it in front of you. Once you've done that, I'd like you to have a chat with your parents, pets, and partners. How would you describe the turn Chewy needs to make to end up facing the mountains of Mordor? What direction does he need to turn in? How far? Remember to try and use right angles to describe the turn. How many right angles does he need to turn? So, in order for Chewy to turn from facing the Castle of Doom to the mountains of Mordor, he needs to turn 1 right angle clockwise. If you look at the line pointing to the castle and the line pointing towards the mountains, the difference between them is 1 right angle. Try it with your pencil. Can you recreate the turn Chewy has made? 1 right angle clockwise. The clockwise part shows us which direction he's turned. Clockwise means the same way a minute or hour hand might turn around a clock, and anti-clockwise means the opposite way to how the hands travel around the clock, just as in the diagram. Now, what I'd like you to do is imagine we've reset Chewy back to his original position facing the Castle of Doom. This time, with your parents, pets, and partners, can you describe how you must turn in order to face the Tunnel of Mystery and the Lake of No Return? Try and use the same language as the sentence we have just seen. Chewy needs to turn a certain amount of right angles in a certain direction. And just to make it extra challenging, and some of you may have already noticed this, but there may be more than one way in which Chewy could turn to face each of these. So if you fancy an extra challenge, try to find all the possible ways for Chewy to turn to face the Tunnel of Mystery and the Lake of No Return. Off you go. Now, let's have a look at what you could have done. We'll start with turning Chewy towards the tunnel. We could have turned Chewy 2 right angles clockwise, or a half turn. Is there any other way? Esme? Good, we could have just as easily turned him 2 right angles anti-clockwise, or a half turn anti-clockwise. He would have ended up in the same place. Now, the next question asked us to turn Chewy towards the Lake of No Return. To achieve this, we needed Chewie to turn one more right angle clockwise from the tunnel, which means he would have to turn 3 right angles clockwise, or 3/4 of a whole turn. Excellent. How else could Chewie get from facing the castle to the lake? Can he do it in one turn? Exactly right. He can make one right angle anti-clockwise turn. Check with your parents, pets and partners if you didn't get that one. Finally then, if Chewie were to make 4 right angle turns in either direction, he would end up where he started. Try it yourself or on a willing volunteer. Stand facing one wall, then make a quarter turn or one right angle turn to face the next wall. Now turn another right angle to face the next wall. You've now made a half turn. Now make another right angle or quarter turn. Now you've done 3/4 of a turn from where you started. Finally, make one more right angle turn and you should find yourself looking at the wall you started with. This means you've made a whole turn. Well done. So, on to your activity for today. You'll need the board, which is in the worksheets pack, and you'll need a counter for each player. I would suggest you don't play with a counter like the ones in the picture, because they're round, and you'll need to know which direction they're pointing in. So, I'll read through the instructions and then set you up. Instruction number 1. Place all your tokens in the same direction at start. So all your tokens will need to face the top, I would suggest, or the right hand side. Roll a dice. The number is the number of right angles your token turns. And then roll another dice. This number is the number of steps your token moves. So you're going to turn your token, first of all, with the first roll of the dice, and then you're going to move your token with the second roll of the dice. Then take turns with the other people in the game to roll the dice. Oh, a really important one here. Whenever your token is at the edge of the board, you can continue to move in any direction. And number 6, the winner is the one who reaches the end first. Good luck, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you next time for some more Angles learning.